Okay, so I got back the other day from a event, and I'm going to make another video here that goes over the negatives of the industry. I'm working on that. A lot of this stuff is actually just things I've been thinking about forever. It's been a while since I made a video. I want to do a recap, explain the event that I went to. It was a Safeco event. I technically should be making this video on my Valor brand, the actual local agency, because that's kind of promoting what we did. I'll go over a little bit of the basics. So what I'm starting to see trend-wise, that's one thing that it scares me a little bit, is everybody's tightening up really big. You've got Progressive is literally every other day I get an email that they are having some sort of a rate increase on the auto side or the personal line side. We haven't hit Michigan, thankfully, yet, so please don't ever. We've got a handful of customers with them, but that's kind of like your monoline, and they do want to get into more of the home and auto, and they're trying to break into that market more so than they already have. But honestly, to get the appointment, it's a whole nother story. The Safeco event that we went to was a lot of fun, but it was a lot of mingling more than it was learning. There wasn't much to update because there really hasn't been a lot of updates. Same scenario. There might be a rate increase coming down the line. It's going to be small. Home has gone up. Here's our losses. Here's our wins. Here's our overall ratio. And just like every other company, they're going to be fine. Everybody, almost, unless you're in Florida, is going to be fine in the insurance industry. Is it going to be harder? Yeah, absolutely. Is it going to be tough? Are we going to lose some clients? Probably 10 to 15% of our clients will probably leave in general, if not 30%, right? It just depends on how competitive of a market you have. For us, we're actually fairly decent, so I'm not super worried there. But that means everybody's going to do it. Your State Farms, your Allstates, your Farmers, your Progressives even are going to raise rates on people, but then they shop with our Progressive and we get it cheap. Like, there's all these different things that you can do to build your agency. So that's kind of what happened just more recently. The last week and a half, I haven't really made a video because I've literally just been focused on one thing, and it's technology. I know you're tired of hearing that word, right? If you're an agent or in the agency and you're doing any type of the ownership, technology is like 70% of your day is the word you're going to hear is technology this, technology that, marketing this, I can do this, I can SEO your website, I can do like all these little things that almost make you don't want to even do the industry. It's kind of why I'm making that other video that I'll go over the 5 things that I don't like about the industry. But to recap, there's not much to discuss. I've got my sheet here, my success sheet, and honestly, I kind of spurred a little bit of a drop your head down and start focusing because I updated my web form. I'll put the link to the video that goes over that at the end. But I've got my web form that actually got over 700 leads last month from it, so it's literally doubled in the last probably 3 months. But 700 plus leads, I updated that form so they weren't connecting anymore, and I wanted to update it anyways. So it's been a few years since I made it. I needed to get some more information in there, so I kind of tweaked some pieces so that's less hard for the customer to fill out, but it's also more detailed for the agent to get information. That spurred a disconnect from all of my auto platforms. So now when a lead came in, it didn't go right to my CRM. I had to fix those connections because there was pieces that were broken. And honestly, I made it harder on the back end versus harder on the front end. So now it's easier for the customer to type in their information. They're not having to enter duplicate data, but I have to separate it on the back end. Those that want to know, it's really easy to understand. It used to be someone filled out the form, it would come in the data, and it would be just blank spots. And if the data matched up, it would show up, right? That's easy. But it'd be a note. So now you really can't track that very well. Well, what I wanted to do is I wanted to take those individual things. Like I want to know the year that a house was made. So I can look at the people I'm quoting and say, well, what year was their house? Am I quoting older homes, newer homes? I don't need to know the construction and all that stuff because that is what it is. And I separated the insurance that they had previously into its own little tab. So now I can see, okay, who am I quoting from State Farm? Am I competitive? In what zip code am I quoting? Am I competitive? So now I can actually track the marketing piece on the back end. But because I did that, I also wanted to make it so the customer didn't have to enter drivers. And then on the other last page, I have it where they enter their personal information. I strategically and actually purposely do it that way because I want them to enter their data first and then their personal information last. Well, because I want it that way, and I personally think it's better, is that I have 2 spots for name and addresses, because if they don't choose they want car insurance and they just want home insurance or renter's insurance, it's not going to ask about drivers. So I'm not going to collect their information there. So now on the back end, I have to put their name and address. Are you married? All of that type of stuff. When you try to feed that into a web form, it gets a little bit complicated. So easy way to understand it, what used to be from here to here, from your web form to your CRM system, now is from your web form to a router, to if they're a homeowner, if they're just looking for auto, if they're just looking for home and auto, if they're looking for auto and renters. But it's a lot of work to do that. The part that got complicated, not to get too techie today, is we've also implemented an Airtable system to where now not only does it do that, it actually now routes from my web form into kind of an Excel sheet, almost an automation. It's called Airtable, but it goes into Airtable and that collects all the data. So now I can run any type of report I want on all of that data, and then from that Airtable, then it goes out to the different distributions to where if I'm actually selling a lead to someone or if I'm trying to work it myself, I can get it into the right pass, but I've got control over the entire piece of the data where I can evaluate, okay, where is this coming from? Where are the sources? What are people looking for? What's the chances of these being worth anything? And that was my week, is fixing all of those pieces, adding the Airtable system. We actually have it with our book, so now our book downloads into that, and we can run all the reports on it and see where we're selling business, all of the tech pieces. On top of it, we've kind of sort of half pushed me out of the sales industry now because I have been doing more of the tech piece. So I'm technically in our agency the sales, IT, and marketing and financing. So those are my roles in the agency. And my partner is management, where he's going to oversee the service department, the sales department, the training pieces, which honestly I think is as much or more of work, but not upfront, right? Initially when we have 5, 6 agents, then he's busy. He's crazy busy. Right now, he's kind of sales on top of that, but he's also licensing and all of these different pieces. So he's got a ton of roles that he's running, and they're as valuable or more valuable than just getting the data to connect and the leads to come in and the marketing piece and all of that. At the end of the day, if you're in an agency and you're trying to do anything, the number one piece that you could just delete this whole video, I probably should have started with it, and I'm sorry, I caught you to watch for this video for 7+ minutes now, is marketing matters. That's all that matters in your agency. Apart from pulling out your hair, you're probably going to have a heart attack if you don't put CRMs in place and all of that stuff, because you're going to lose customers. You'll figure that out. If you haven't done it, you'll understand. Then you'll come back to this video and watch, wait, what was he doing? This Airtable? What's this web form? Where is it? I'll put those at the end, by the way. That's the recap of this last week and a half. It's been a while since I made a video. I will make more. A lot of it will be a little bit more marketing pieces, so maybe I'll show you what we're doing as far as marketing, and that way you can kind of see what the plan is. Going forward, that's part of our strategy, marketing and social media. Social media is the tougher piece of it all, and I am not going to lie, it has been a headache doing the social media piece. But that is what shows your brand who you are. That's where people are. So doing YouTube, honestly, I think is more lead generation than it is social media type. I would almost take them out of the social media piece. Yeah, can you build a brand? There's actually some pretty cool guys out there that have done it, but they don't get any views. So the brand's there. It's super powerful. It's super cool. It might get you a center of influence connection or in networking and all that to show who you are, but you can do that on Facebook. You can do that on Instagram. Like, you don't need to do that on YouTube. YouTube, in my opinion, is that search algorithm to where the lead generation is where it makes the most power. So I got to figure out how we can get leads coming in, not just from YouTube, because we're only getting a few leads a month from YouTube, is how to get them from social media. I've got a strategy that I think is going to work. Marketing through emails, buying lists. I don't personally believe in that one, but buying mailing lists, that's okay, versus doing leads. I personally like lead generation as far as buying leads. I buy them from a company called Smart Financial, put in the description below. Generating your own, which I am 90% believe in more than everything else, but it takes time, it takes money, and it's a lot of stress. That piece is where I'm kind of shifting a little bit more focus on, to where not only are we going to do it, but we might open it up for other people to get involved with what we're doing. There is a link that I made. Honestly, I'm playing with some things. Right now, YouTube is where all of my stuff is, but there's a link. If I do anything, that's where it's going to be. It's nas.io/Mark W. Flockhart, and it's in the description, so you can just click it. It basically brings you to my network, and that has you fill out a thing. I approve you. If you're not an agent, don't even bother. I'm not going to let you in. If you are, then great. We're not looking for marketers. We're not looking for any of that stuff. It's just kind of like building a community. And yeah, there's a Facebook page and all of that stuff that we can join. But that's where I am if you want to find more information there. Recap done. I will follow up more frequently. I apologize. It's been probably about a week and a half since I've done anything. I want to do more marketing stuff for you so you can see some of the actual getting clients, getting leads, and a follow-up on what we're doing. So how we're growing the agency. Hopefully I'll be running around with a camera more often in the office and showing you kind of the day in the life of, or just the life of our agency. I'm Mark W. Flockhart. See you soon.